And let's begin with the pledge to the flag. Ready? Begin.
I pledge
Pledge
Allegiance
allegiance to the flag
to the flag
of the United
of
States
the
of
United
America
States of America
and to the
and to the
republic
republic
for which it
for
stands,
which it stands,
one nation,
one
under
nation,
God,
under God,
indivisible,
indivisible,
with
with
liberty and justice
liberty,
for all.
justice for all. Okay, roll call of directors. Director Kelling?
Here.
Director Nyman?
Here,
Director Schoenberg?
Here.
Director Garcia is absent. And I am chairing the meeting. Rebecca, I'm here. Do we need to change our agenda? Everybody's happy with,
Should we table item 12 again for the employee handbook until we have a full board, or what do you think about that, Lisa?
I hate to do it, but I think we probably should.
Okay.
I make a motion that we table number 12 until the next regular meeting. On vote on employee handbook, discussion, vote, review.
But wait, I have a question before we second that.
okay.
Because are you not going to be able to be at the meetings from us?
Well, I'm not going to be here definitely February, all through February, and we'll see how I'm feeling in
Oh,
March.
Then maybe we should just go ahead, because if we're not going to have a full representation.
I would prefer you table it because I would
Really
rather.
want to make some comments on the handbook. Okay, so can you amend your motion? Would you accept a friendly amendment that you amend it, that we pick it back up in March?
Sure.
Okay, I'll second that.
okay. So roll call of directors. Director Garcia is absent. Director Kelling,
Aye.
Director Nyman,
Aye.
Director Schoenberg,
Uh,
and Director Gibson is an aye. Motion carried 4-0, one absent. Ad hoc committee reports. The
Oh, no,
project committee.
public comments, Director Gibson.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Thank you for pointing that out. Public comments. Does anybody have anything to say in our audience? Okay, not hearing anything. I'm going to move on to the ad hoc committee reports. Project committee.
yeah, Director Garcia and I took part in the state project, and all that will be brought up under unfinished business. In the state,
Perfect.
I'm sorry, not project, the state update meeting.
Okay. And accounts payable committee?
We met and it'll be brought up under financial business.
Okay, good. Budget committee?
We haven't met yet. We will probably need to meet starting maybe in March or April, but maybe March, once we get some of the other financial stuff more straightened out a little bit better.
That sounds very good. A beginning in spring. That sounds good. And accounts receivable committee?
We have not met yet.
No, we're planning to meet on Tuesday.
Yes.
And then you
Okay, fine.
skipped
I'm
the
sorry.
book asset. We did meet for the book asset. Last, I don't know, I can't remember if I reported that on the last meeting or not. But we did meet, and we have gone over things with David from RCAC, and we're just waiting again for him to, we're going to move forward with the Prop 218. We're waiting on a couple of details. We're trying to find out how the standby fee figures in to all this, if it can be done as a Prop 218 or not, and we need to talk to our attorney for that. And then we also need to just, kind of set dates. And he was doing some housekeeping on some of the fees and things. He was finishing up with that. But we did agree on everything else that he presented last time. So I think we're just waiting. He may present to us again before the Prop 218 stuff, but we're just kind of waiting for him to finish up all the fees we.
Okay, and I'm sorry that I skipped it. Can we move on to financial business? Discussion vote on accounts payable and financial information.
That's you, Deborah.
Good evening, everybody.
Evening.
Hello, Deborah.
So tonight, briefly, I cut 10 checks for a total of $4,748.96 out of the revenue operating account. There was no one extraordinary item. And unless you have any questions for me, I don't have anything else to report.
Okay, hearing nothing, I make a motion that we pay our bills.
I just have one question, and it's not
Sure.
a big deal. I'm not arguing against it or anything, but we were paying, I thought, 75 for work boots. Did we change that? And I just forgot.
No, that's
Oh.
2 years worth. He didn't get boots last year, and go ahead, you can explain it, Johnny.
Yeah, the boot allotment's too little. We can't buy a pair of boots. For
Yeah,
them, so
I'm not.
we-
I'm okay with.
I was just going to finish. So
Okay.
yeah, so we all save it up for 2 years typically. So then it's $150 is all.
Got it. Okay, that's fine. I just couldn't remember. And then my only other question was on the uniforms on the t-shirts, and it was like 60 t-shirts. Was that for board?
No, that's for 10 a piece. And then when I have temporary people or Logan comes back or whatever, I have t-shirts for them because the crew's been looking like a bunch of ragtags and it's hard to get them to make less than a certain quantity. So I keep the rest in my office. And the uniform thing fell through. That's why I bought t-shirts. I worked from September until January. They kept on stringing me along. Never responded to emails. When they finally did, they showed up with uniforms and they were totally the wrong ones. I told them to take them back. We didn't need their service. So now we have to buy
Wow.
pants and shirts and everything again.
Is that for a year, the 60, or half a year, or?
Well, it depends. I mean, we could stick to a year, or when they're running around like they have been with holes all in their shirts, letting them look like
Yeah,
derelicts on the job.
Yeah.
So I don't like that. So if they get bad enough, I'm trying to get them to take care of them. If they get bad enough, I'm gonna swap out shirts with them so they stay looking professional.
so probably about 6 months or so.
Or a year. It could last a year or two. It just depends on what the workload's like and how many people we
I'm
got.
asking questions because I'm gonna have to be on the budget committee, so I'm just kind of.
Oh, no, that's great.
Stuff.
Yeah, that's great.
Okay.
And I've never bought them more than what we actually needed. But I felt we all wear the same size right now, so it kind of worked out good for ease of
super
not having
easy.
to order. Yeah.
All right. Okay. Yeah, that was my only question. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, so we have a motion on the floor.
Yeah, I'll second that.
Okay, roll call of directors. Director Kelling,
Aye.
Director Nyman,
Aye.
Director Schoenberg,
Aye.
Director Garcia is absent, and Director Gibson is an aye, so it's 4-0, 1 absent.
And I
so,
apologize. I think I should have seconded it first and then done the discussion questions. So my apologies on that.
I was gonna say something, but I.
Well, you asked a question that I had too, so all is good. Can we go on to discussion vote on the district rate and fee study?
So, oh, I didn't realize it was on here again. So that was basically what I brought up for the book asset detail committee. It's part of the same thing. I mean, there's the book asset, which we haven't even, we started, and we're gonna have to approach that over the whole year. But really, the big part of that was the RCAC meeting with David, and so everything I said under book asset detail committee applies to the district rate and fee study. So we're just waiting for him to do a couple of more things, and then we need to contact, I guess I'll
He's
contact.
on here. He's on the meeting. He's ready to talk.
Oh, awesome.
Hello. Yes.
Hi, David.
Hello.
Hey,
Can you
David.
hear me fine?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. I can present on the fees and then you guys can decide what you want to do. You ready?
Yes. You're going to share the screen, Tiffany?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. We talked last week about rates, which you guys already voted on. And then we briefly went over the fees, and Brahma, you wanted to be brought back this week so that you guys could vote on what you want to do with the fees. Okay, so everything in column C is what you have right now in your fees. You guys asked me to cost out your fees to make sure, see where they sit, that you can justify your fees, and then anything that you're kind of undershooting. So if it's kind of in blue on my side, that's what it costs you to do business. If it's red, that's what it's costing you to do business. So starting at the top of your fees, late charge, that 10% I put no change because that's just one of your fees. Return check is $35. You can easily justify it. I did your labor, your hours, all the stuff, all your maintenance, your vehicles, everything broken down into it comes out roughly to about $36 if you round up. So, that one's good. Same with ownership transfer fee. You're pretty close. It's costing you a little bit more than what you're charging. 48 hours, same thing. Owner tenant reconnection fee, same thing. You're close. Reconnect for non-payment fee, you charge 15 presently. It's costing you at least almost double that to do the work.
Wow.
So that would be one that, it's up to you guys if you want to round it up and, change it to $30 so that the rest of your ratepayers aren't subsidizing that person that's doing this. That's kind of what this whole thing's about. You're trying to be equitable across all your ratepayers. So that one, yeah, you're doing it for half the price, and it's costing you on every one. You're losing money. Same thing on your service update. When somebody comes in and they choose to go from 3/4 to 1 inch, you're charging them $1,000, but you're easily costing you more like $2,635. $1.50 fee, there's really nothing there. That's all banking. Talking to your staff on the automated phone line credit card fee, there is a little bit of staff time, and I took what they said for out time and it comes out to $3.05. So you're not getting that. So every time somebody uses that, you lose $3.
Mm.
Okay, we get down to convenience turn-on fee during regular hours. You charge 20, it's costing you about 24 to do the work. Same with turn-off fees. You're charging 20 and it's costing you about $24. After hours, again, after hours means that the person you're sending out is getting that 3 hours for standby or, the call out fee, the call out charges. you charge 100 to the customer, but you're paying 155 to the employees. Okay. So again, you know, you're underneath, you're losing money on those ones. 3-day activation fee is pretty, you're close. I mean, you can easily justify it. It's costing you $101. You're charging $100. This one I want to skip for a minute because it takes a little more explaining. You don't charge anything for emergency shutoffs, which is fine. It's kind of, that's normal. Your will serve, yeah, you charge 200 for your staff time, and it you can calculate it out to 200, almost $203. So you're flush there. That's good. Curbs or vandalism, you're charging it $200 each occurrence. You could easily raise that to 300 because, I mean, if they that's pretty much paying for them to go out and do the work. If you're not really charging them for what they destroyed.
Mhm.
This takes in a little bit for if they destroy stuff like an angle stop replacement. So here you're just slapping them saying, you know, we're going to charge you $200, and we're going to eat the rest. Well, you know, the rest, everybody here on this side is choosing to do this. So to be equitable to all your customers, you really should look at raising the cost of these things to match.
Mhm.
Okay, this is the one Lisa talked about earlier. Talking to your staff, it was 1974 when this $5, and you've got per parcel, and in your language it's actually $10, but it's for, if it's under an acre, it got cut down to $5, which is what you're doing for the charge. If you just adjust it for inflation, it's $28.19 today. You'd collect an addition, you would collect with the amount of lots you have out there, you'd collect about almost $35,000 a year just in that fee, which if you go back to the rate study, how much you were missing, you've made up a lot of it right there. Okay. These guys are getting a benefit, but they've never been adjusted for inflation or anything. So that's keeping them at the same rate they inked on in the beginning. It's just reflected in today's dollars. But again, I don't have the answer. Lisa's having you guys are looking into it with with a lawyer to make sure if it has to go a vote or if it can just be put on the 218. It'd be nice if it could go just on the 218, but you have to follow the codes. So let's go back to this one. Okay. Most of your system, 90-something% of your system is 3/4 inch meters. And and most of your abandonments or people not doing stuff is 3/4 inch. So $750 comes right in line with the costs. It costs on a 3/4 inch, $749 to do the work. And that's to replace the meter or it comes right in. But once you get to 1 inch and above, all the way up to 6 inches, you'd be, if somebody does abandonment on a 6 inch, you'd be eating some big costs. I'm going to switch to a different screen so you can see per group what it's costing you. But you got to also weigh that most of your system isn't these bigger sizes.
Right.
Okay, so right here, there's the cost for that 3/4 inch. But you do have a few, 1 inch. If you don't charge them that difference for time and material, for whatever's prorated above that for that bigger meter, because it costs more for the meter than a 3/4 inch. Okay, that meter cost, and I only listed meter costs. So after 7 years, you can talk to Johnny. That meter ain't gonna work right, and you're gonna be losing money even if it turns, because it's not gonna be registering the right amount of water. You know, you'd be lucky if it's doing 80% of what it says it's doing. So you should replace it. It's just not cost effective to leave it out there. You're losing money. So if you have to replace that meter, which I think is going to happen on most of the times you do this, you're not recouping that meter cost. That makes sense. And that doesn't even bring up the fact that lots of times the valves that haven't been worked for 7 years or anything, they're going to break too and not work. But the meter cost is the bigger charge.
Can I add something to that?
Go
David?
for it, Johnny. You're the guy in the field. You know more than me.
I agree with everything you said. The only ones that, I mean, we'll raise them obviously, but the only ones I don't think we're ever gonna have an issue with is the 3, 4, and 6
Yeah,
inch sizes.
that's why I was wanting to like kind of blend this thing. Either list this through here on your fees, and then just put a note in there, you know, that plus materials, which I'll go back to the first sheet.
That's a great idea.
Okay. The range for cost for doing this is $749 up to $6,300. Okay, so I'd put a note in there, 1 inch and larger meters, $750 plus materials, meter and or shut off valve. So, and,
Yeah, I
and
agree.
if you want to just leave it at 3/4 and a message, or we can list out the 4 classes and then say anything after 2 inch, $750 plus materials, meter and or shut off valve. That makes sense to everybody?
Yeah, I like the 2 inch and up, because if it's a 2 inch, it's going to be a business, and so I would definitely list down to the 2 inch and then add the extra thing, like you said, materials and cost to anything higher than a 2 inch.
Yeah, because you have so few. Well, actually,
Yeah.
after 2 inch, you only have 2 meters, and they're two
Yeah.
6 inches.
Yeah, and
So-
they're the school and the library, so I don't think we're ever going to need them.
Yeah, and in today's world, you could put a 2 inch in that will supply the same amount of water as that old 6 inch.
Yeah,
Because that's the world of meters today. Volume, the amount you can get out of a smaller meter and a smaller service is a lot more accurate and a lot more than we used to have to do for a 6 inch. So realistically, I'd list this out as 4 brackets. Like on this page, I'd list it out as 4 brackets, and you have 4 charges. And then just a note for anything above that in case somebody does come in and buy a 3 inch. But, you know, that's the future. This is today. 90%, 90 something percent of all your meters are right here. They're at cost. But 1, 1.5, and 2 inch, you're losing a big chunk of change at 2 inch. Okay.
Yeah.
You're almost 3 times. Okay. That one. So it would only take one of those a year to lose some bucks.
Right. Okay.
So any questions?
No. I guess, how do we want to proceed on? I think we should go down. I mean, I would like to make a motion that we approve the changes, and let's just go down item by item, and if everybody agrees with what I say, you can say it. So so can we go so we can see the top one, David?
Yep.
And
I'm gonna get
kind of
there,
go
sir.
down.
Okay.
So I move that we approve the following changes. Late charge, no change. Return check fee stays at 35. Owner transfer at 50. 48 hours at 25. Owner tenant reconnection fee, $100. Reconnection for non-payment fee, $30. That we should change that to $30.
Okay, I have a question now. These are
What?
at,
Yes,
these are at today's,
This is, what he just explained is the cost that
I
it's
understand that.
costing us.
this is at today's wages, employees' wage.
Yes.
It's at your,
yes.
it's at your 2020 costs and wages and benefits
Some of
and
those wages have gone up.
Yeah,
yes.
a couple of them have gone up a little bit,
So-
but I think it's not gonna affect us that drastically to do that. There's always gonna be a fluctuation in wages, you know.
Okay, and I have one more suggestion before you go to your vote, Brahma.
Okay.
You're locking these in for 4 years or 5 years. Some places will lock these in with those same increases as you do in the rates. So if you put in that you wanted 1% next year, 2%, 3%, you could lock these in into that same kind of upgrading ladder, Terry, so that it would reflect those changes in inflation. That makes sense?
That's really smart. That's, yeah.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense right there. I like that a lot.
Does everybody agree? I mean, it's your guys'
Yeah.
money. I'm just trying to show it because Terry brought up a good point. You lock it in today, but in 4 years from now, you're back to losing money again. If you at least
Mhm.
lock it into what you guys have agreed to on the rate study increases. Now, some of these are so small that you won't see the increase because it's not going to roll over until you get to 51 cents, like right here. Okay, and then it would roll up. So you'd roll it to the closest dollar, you know, that makes sense?
Mhm.
That's all I gotta say. Sorry.
Well, I mean, I mean, I don't know that we want to. I mean, I don't think we should we want to charge like 50, like the $50 ownership fee go to 52.91. I mean, is that what you guys want to do?
I think that if it was merited, I mean, the cost of everything's continually going up. So until it starts going back down again, plus each year you could vote whether or not you feel the need to do the 2% increase when we do the calculation on it.
Yeah,
But I
you
think
can-
that the way things are
Well,
going,
who's going to do who's going to do the calculation every year to make sure that we're within?
it's not hard to calculate 2%. You take the cost, you put it in the calculator.
But that's not
2%.
what I'm saying, Johnny, because it has to be like he's got it justified here because he's done the calculations. And
Right.
who's going to put in the new rates and everything to do calculations? That's my
You would
question.
adjust it by, I believe you can adjust it just by cost of living inflation, if that's what David's saying. Like you can,
And you guys aren't presently doing cost of inflation. You're gonna catch up to that point. And we gotta throw out this year too. Hopefully this kid doesn't keep going.
and
But
I would recommend that we round up or round down so we don't have these like crazy amounts. So we would just put wording in. What I would want to do would be putting wording in saying adjusted for cost of living inflation, per year and what that would be. But you can say per what the cost of living is, because we would go by what it actually is from the government. And then we would round up or down to the nearest dollar. It would just need to be stated in there, I believe.
Okay, why don't you make the motion, Lisa?
Okay. Well,
We have to actually agree on these.
why don't we
numbers.
continue? Why don't we continue to go through all of the? Why don't you just name all of that as you were doing, Brahma, and
Okay,
then I'll just make an amendment on the wording that we, do it for the cost of living at the end.
okay, so the reconnect for non-payment fee, we changed to $30. The service update 3/4 to 1 inch fee, we changed it to $2,635. The in-office credit card fee, we leave the same. Online credit card fee, the same. Do we want to add on the automated phone line credit card fee? I don't know that we want to increase that. I think that's kind of cost of doing business.
And I think that actually helps us to have people call, not all try to get to the office and all that.
So I recommend that we leave it as it is, 1% plus the 80 cents.
Yeah,
Is
'cause
everyone in agreement with that? Is that okay?
Yeah, you'd be losing the staff time with, I don't know, $3, $4.
Yeah, but I mean, people are doing it on credit card online, so I think they're already paying the 1%. So they're already, I think I think that because we use credit cards, I think it's kind of part of cost of doing business as a business. I don't think that we should be trying to, I mean, that's an extra $3. I think that's quite a bit for customers. I really do.
I agree.
Yeah, so we'll leave it as 1% plus 80 cents. Convenience fee to turn on water, we'll change that to $24. Convenience fee to turn off water, we'll change it to $24. Convenience fee for after hours, we'll do $155.50. Convenience fee for after hours, we change to $155.50. The activation, 3-day activation lock off, we'll leave it 100. The abandonment fees, we should do the 4 ranges as he said, up to 2-inch. That chart that he had on the first page. Do you want to go to that for a second, David, so I can read it off? So for the 1-inch, we would do, I mean, for the 3/4 inch, $750. For the 1-inch, $926. The 1.5, $1,874. The 2-inch, $2,217. And an asterisk, and then we'd have an asterisk, what'd you say? Labor plus cost, is that
Yeah,
what?
it would be like, it would look like this, except we would do it
Okay.
after 2-inch.
So after 2 inches
and larger,
meter
the meters
service is $750 plus materials, meter, and shut off valve.
and or shut off valve, so.
Okay, yeah, so that's what we do. Now, no charge still for emergency shut off. Will serve deposit, we'll leave it 200. The cutting off lock, we should go to $321. And then, of course, the standby fee, if our attorney says we can put it on the rate study, I think we should at least, do you want to go up to 25 or do you want to do the whole 28? Lisa?
The whole 28.
And then we do $28. And that's my motion plus whatever the friendly amendment. And we need someone to second it.
So I'd like to second that motion, but include a friendly amendment that the fees be adjusted per year for the 5 years of the rate study. Actually, it's 4 years because we missed one. So for the remaining 4 years of the rate study for cost of living, rounded up or down to the closest dollar. Do you agree with that? I just need a okay from the motion maker.
That's okay.
Okay.
Okay, shall we take a vote?
Mhm.
Director Kelling,
Aye.
Director Nyman,
Aye.
Director Schoenberg,
Aye.
and Director Gibson is an aye, and Garcia is absent, so it's 4-0-1. So is there any more discussion on the district rate and fee study?
Nope.
So
Okay.
the only thing left is the standby fee, which we need to talk to the attorney about.
Yeah, And it would be great if it could go on this. Otherwise, you can agree, you've agreed to it. It's
Yeah, we
how
agreed.
it's how you impose it is the only difference, you know.
Correct.
Might be a vote of all the customers and landowners, or it might be just a 218, so whichever way the attorney says you can do it.
So it's on the motion, and I should have made a friendly amendment that, you know, that's dependent on, well, I guess it's all dependent on a Prop 218 and or a regular vote of our district.
Okay. And
Thank
are
you,
we
David.
finished? Thank you very much, David.
You're
And so are
welcome.
we finished with financial business?
Well, I just have one more question on this. So, when would be our next, so we need to talk to the attorney, and then when do you think we should be, going out, and starting to do the actual, public meetings and sending out the letters and everything, like in March?
Yeah, I believe you can set a date and you got to give them at least 45 days. So it would be, get this all together, and on your next meeting, you vote to put it out there. And then at that point, then it just starts on the clock. And
Right, and because we need to be able to, get a building or get some way of, having a public forums as well.
yeah, well, we've
How do
done,
we do that in time of COVID?
yeah,
I'm-
well,
I'm gonna-
we've actually done it on Super Zooms.
Yeah, I'm gonna recommend we would have to do it at the water company, and maybe put a TV outside, maybe, so the people that don't have internet could come and socially distance and watch the Zoom meeting from outside the office. That's what I would recommend.
How are
And
they
this,
doing it in Lebec? Lebec
How are
is
they what?
doing it. Lebec is doing it next week.
Well, I don't know, but we could look at that and see what they're doing. But you know, we also got to take our own company policies into consideration. So
Yeah, but
we
I
could
was
look
just-
into that and see. It's a
'cause
good
they're
idea,
doing their-
though.
I think we could probably do what you're discussing with a television and a microphone so that
Yeah.
people could come up to the microphone, where somebody just needs to be outside monitoring that, and wiping it off or whatever, and then
Yeah.
people could come up to the microphone if they had a question. And
Yep, I agree.
we don't
Okay.
necessarily need to see them, we just need to hear them.
Yeah, the
And
more
And we're going to
transparent
try
we
to
are, the
do
better
this
off
by
we are.
when?
We need to probably vote on it at the next, once we talk to the attorney. Well, we need to get the information from the attorney, and then once we have that, we can put that on the agenda to vote to go out for Prop 218 if it's just 218, or Prop 218 a vote. Then, once we make that decision, then we have to start sending out, then it all adheres to a clock from the government, so we have to send it out per their requirements.
yeah, I will this next week write up all these. And who do you want me to submit this to?
Tiffany.
Tiffany? Okay. Because that will then, what you guys have agreed here is kind of, I'll draw up, and that's part of the stuff that goes into this formal 218. Because you want to present to the public what you're doing. So, and then it just, like you said, it goes on the time clock. You pick a comfortable date, that time out, and then you do the broadcast, and get everybody involved, however they want to do it. They have been doing these as Zooms through COVID. I just let you know, a lot of people, it's been done. There is got to be like monitoring how many people agree or disagree, but I forget what's your population, 1,500 or?
Well, you have 1,300 connections, so.
Okay, so you got to have a majority of those people show up and say no. Okay.
Good, the majority to even say, come to a meeting is.
Yeah.
We actually put it out to I mean, we can still put it out to a paper vote for the people that can't show up to the actual meeting. So that's what we did in the past is we put it out to a paper vote and then we just collected those ballots. I mean, people were allowed to turn them in. We had the public meetings and then people were allowed to turn in the ballots for whatever the allotted time is. And then on the final day of turning in the ballots, we just, counted them with some members of the public. That could be a little weird with COVID, but we could mask up and do it outside. And we just counted up the ballots with, being accountable to the public, with members of the public actually watching over that, and then gave the final number.
Okay.
We need to clarify again, it's only it's only one vote per residence though, right? And who gets that vote, the owner or the tenant? Because that was a question last time we did the
It's-
rates,
I believe it's whoever's actually paying the,
the
so
water bill.
the water bill. Yeah.
Okay, so we'll have to have I seem to remember we had a checklist of all the accounts and we checked them off as they came in.
Correct. Yeah,
Okay,
we had,
that's right, I remember now.
because we did have some people double vote, like we had some where the owner and the tenant voted and it could only be one.
Yeah, I think Diane Smallwood helped.
Yeah,
Yeah,
she
right.
was, she was very helpful doing
I
that.
remember, yeah. Perfect.
But
We had
some tenants don't get the bill.
Exactly. If they don't get the bill, then the owner is the person who votes. If they,
Whoever gets the bill.
correct.
Whoever gets the bill, yes.
Okay.
Okay, I think we can
Okay.
move on.
Okay, so we're moving out of financial business, correct?
Yes.
Does this mean that Deborah
Thank you
can leave?
very much, David.
Thank you, David.
Thank you, David.
Thank
You're
you,
welcome.
David, and thank you, Deborah.
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 Thank you. Have a good evening.
You too.
You as well. Now we're going to unfinished business at 6:42. Discussion vote update on the Fraser Park Lake of the Woods Consolidation Planning Project. A, discussion vote on test well property appraisals. But we're still waiting, right?
That's D.
Okay, just a quick update. Yeah, they're due at the end of March, and so we're just waiting to get those done, and then we can start move ahead with negotiations at the board's pleasure once we've had some discussions with the attorney.
March is shaping up to be busy, guys.
Yeah.
Okay. Discussion vote on well 8 funding and property acquisition.
Well, I know I seen a letter from Lawrence where he was suggesting something of that nature, and obviously the other people can chime in, but I don't know how that's gonna be sped up faster than well 7. As it is, we're out to bid right now, and they're due back February 10th for well 7. So it seems like we're still gonna have well 7 drilled along.
Okay.
Yeah, I think we just were trying to push it forward, but yeah, well 7's gonna go ahead before well 8. But I think we're trying to get funding. I mean, if we're not able to push it forward, it may be 7 or 8 years out, because if we're waiting for funding to come from the consolidation, that's quite a long ways off. If we're able to get funding, and what Lawrence was suggesting on the state update meeting is that we could draw funding. Right now, all of the funding for the design and everything would be fine under the planning, under the money that we have left from the test wells, and in the contingency. So we could move forward and do quite a bit of that, but the actual drilling of the well would have to come from something else. And he was suggesting that it potentially come from and we just weren't sure how you could draw, if we could for sure draw from two different things for that well, because the well itself becomes part of the larger consolidation project. So it's a little bit confusing. So I think we still would need to hammer that out and make sure that we're not hurting ourselves in terms of the funding, but we can certainly move forward on the design and everything within the consolidation project. We just can't do any actual work on it, any actual construction until we had construction funding. And if we wait for that, for the consolidation project, like I said, it's maybe 5, 6, 7 years off. So Lawrence was suggesting we could maybe tie it to the well 5, 7 replacement and meter project, whatever the actual official name of that is. I can't think of it right now. But we could potentially tie it to that. But I think we just need to have a little further discussion on that.
Yeah, no, yeah, I would love to get it to go forward to at least design phase, because even that would still speed things up hugely, even if we had to wait till the construction phase, because then we would already have that at the beginning.
Now, what about
And
the
we could immediately go out to
acquisition?
That's
So-
the key.
Right, we don't
Because
have,
we still need to get the property. I think that's something that, we need to discuss whether we do that out of our pocket, depending upon negotiations and how much that's gonna cost. I mean, I think the Fraser Park would want to purchase that property anyway, so that we would have it.
right, we just don't know until we find. So the next thing we need to do is the appraisals, and we also need to get some easement access. So Dee can, I don't know, it's somewhere on here probably, but Dee wrote a letter to our attorney, and Dee can talk about that.
Yeah, wrote a letter.
That's
For-
number
for-
C.
No, it's pre-number C. It's actually part of the test well property appraisals.
Okay, go ahead, D.
You need to go back to A
Um,
or B. It's actually B because it says property acquisition too.
there are a couple of things going on, and one is, of course, the well 7, well 5 replacement. And in order to do that, we need a right-of-way, an easement, a temporary easement through SEA, so that we can get the drill rigs in to the east side of the well 5 well site. So
Sorry to interrupt you too, D. You might tell them, I don't think any of the other directors except the project ad hoc know that we had to change the site of where we're going to drill.
oh,
Yeah,
And
no.
the whole NOE and all of that. So you might want to fill them in on that.
Yes,
yeah, what's going on there is had a meeting, had a couple of drillers, and Johnny, you were there, Curtis was there, and the drillers really had two hesitations. One is drilling in close proximity to well 5, which during the drilling process may create an issue with well 5. That's one concern, and the other was the power lines. We have to do something about the power lines in order to do that drilling. And so what came out of that meeting was a suggestion to move that well, the well site, to the south end of the existing well 5 well site. And so with that suggestion, I contacted Ken Schmidt. Ken talked with a driller or two who had been at the meeting, looked at the hydrogeology, and then reviewed the driller's log that for the original well 5.
And
Yeah,
you know
it's-
what, Dee? I'm really out of order here because I realized like it affects the whole property appraisal and stuff for well 8, but we actually should be discussing the well 5 part on item number 8. So that's my fault.
Oh,
yeah, because I was
okay.
just gonna say, are we talking about well 8 or well 7?
Well, they kind of here. The problem is they kind of interact a little bit because we need an easement for 8 as well. So the having to go on Saya's property is going to have to happen for both. So maybe D on item 7, you can just talk about the potential of having to go across the property for well 8 and also just the property appraisals because we may have to purchase an easement or unless if they give us an easement. And then we need to further discuss it, I guess, on item 9.
Okay, yeah. I'll,
Oh, I'm sorry,
got a
item,
little- got a little ahead of myself and out of order. On well 8, we need, there are 2 things that we need for well 8. One is the well site itself, and that's been defined in the past. And, you know, we know exactly what we want and that's pretty much mapped out. The other thing that we need is a pipeline and access easement from the future well 8 to well 5. And that'll run from the driveway of SCA along the fence line for Fraser Mountain Park Road all the way to well 5. And so in order for us to acquire the well site for well 8, we also have to have a pipeline easement and access easement in order to get that water from well 8 to the well 5 site. And so that's the concern there. And let's see, then, you know, of course, we're doing the property appraisals for that, and those will be done at the end of June. So
the end of June?
I'm sorry, yeah. End of March.
Oh,
March. I misspoke.
kind of long anyway.
End of March. And that's pretty much, I think, regarding well 8, what we're going to do is we'll be getting into, with the board's recommendation, we'll be getting into some conversations with SEA regarding the purchase of that well site and also the purchase of the pipeline access easement for well 8. So we're hoping that'll go smoothly, but planning that it may not.
Okay. Are we done with B?
That's really all I have, unless there are any questions at this point.
Are there any questions?
Yeah, 'cause
Then
we don't
moving
get
on to C.
Until we get the appraisals.
Right. Yeah, we can't really move forward until we know what's happening on A, and then we can move forward a little bit in discussing funding with Lawrence, but we're not actually able to completely move forward till we know what we're talking about, like how much, although we can start the design and stuff. So that we need to continue to do. And then the property acquisition is a whole nother discussion that we'll have to do once we know what we're talking about for what the purchase price is going to be. And then we'll need to talk to Lawrence about that as well. I don't think they would be able to fund that, although I'm not sure. Maybe in conjunction with the monies for the well 7 replacement and meter, which is what he was suggesting, but I'm not sure how that works if the well itself is still tied into the larger project. So yeah, so we need to keep investigating that, but first we need the appraisal, which is not going to happen till then. And we need to move forward with the easements.
D, what size?
I have a question. I'm sorry. You go, Terry.
I was just wondering, what size of a parcel are we talking about for the well 8? Quarter acre, or tenth of an acre?
We're looking at half an acre for the well site and half an acre for a temporary easement for drilling for well 8, 40,000 square feet total for well 8, but 20,000 of that is temporary easement for drilling. And then on the easement, I think that's probably I forget what that number is, but it's probably 20,000 to 30,000 square feet for the easement itself.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
my question is, when we are going to negotiate with SAF, are we going to negotiate at different times, one time for the easement, one time for purchasing the property? Or are we going to try to do, like with the lawyers, I don't know, like one meeting with them, or, you know, one prospectus? I guess I just don't understand.
When we get to that letter that I'll submit once the board approves to Alan, I think we need to combine these two simply from the standpoint of saving time and cost. The easement that we'll need for well 7 is exactly the same easement that we're going to need for well 8. For well 7, it's temporary. For well 8, it's permanent. So those two pretty well tie together. So we really need to be talking about both of them, and really they'll be separate purchases, I think. But we need to be talking about both of those. The first, of course, would be well 7 and the temporary easements that we need for drilling and access. That would be just I think that's cleanest to separate those from well 8, but then at the same time start talking about well 8 and start, you know, approaching that issue, because I have a funny feeling that it's probably not going to be really, really smooth.
Okay. Any more questions on the well 8 funding and property acquisition? Then can we move forward to discussion vote on moving forward with a resolution for the intention to purchase the test well property or easement? Well, again,
So
we're waiting, right?
I would move that we table C, D, and E, because we can't really move forward on those yet, or we can, but we really need to know a little bit more about what we're doing with this. And I think this sphere of influence, we're still waiting on some things too. So I would
I'll
table
second that motion.
Okay.
Okay, Director Kelly,
Aye.
Director Nyman,
Aye.
Director Schoenberg,
Aye.
Director Gibson is an aye. Director Garcia is absent. 4-0-1. So now we're moving on to number 8. Oh no, F. I'm sorry.
Would it be proper for me to just make a comment on that last item, just for information?
You bet.
We have a 2-year agreement with Wainwright's, French Wainwright, and the agreement starts at the effective date of the signature of the agreement. And for Wainwright, the date is signing the agreement, and it's the last signature, which was on the 8th. Director Garcia signed it on the 8th of May, 2021. And so that would give us 2 years to May 7th, 2023, in order to declare that we want that well site. I really think that we need to be doing that sooner, much sooner, but and then it's the same situation with SEA, except it's a 5-year period. And I don't have the date of the signature, our signature on that. And Johnny, you probably do, but it's probably very close to May of 2021 when Gerald probably signed both of those. So just for some information, that's kind of what the agreement says.
And
Keep the
D,
time frame in mind.
yeah, and also D, just for information, when we get to item 8, the attorney letter, it did say for the SEA property, it said 2 years. So that was the only typo I saw on there. I don't know if that matters, but it did say 2 years for that property instead of 5 for the other. But we get to that. Again, I'm a little out of order. I just want to make sure that we talk about that when we get there.
We'll address it when we get there. Thanks for
Yep.
bringing it up. Can we move on to F now? Are you finished, D?
Yes.
Discussion vote on a new budget adjustment.
That would be Carlos.
Yeah, Tiffany got me the numbers, that you guys want me to put for the year, for a year's worth of director's time. After claim number 14 gets approved, there will be a balance of $8.94 on the budget for management and administration. And I sent Tiffany the Excel sheet where I'm getting this info from, but I just realized that I hadn't included claim 14 in there. So you guys won't be seeing claim 14 numbers in there. I have them on my end, but I can't share because my computer has issues. So basically claim 14, you're just adding another $500 cost to that line number 4. So that reduces the balance to $8.94. And then you're reducing on line number 6, you're reducing it by, or you're adding $69.88 in cost. So that brings the balance of $4,046.21. And so forth for the other ones for lines 12, 13, and 15. We're adding cost to that. So that's going to reduce those budgets. So in order for me to do the adjustment, I was going to ask you guys, we in claim 14, we did charge $297 to budget line number 13, which is a test well drilling. So I think that's probably the last charge that will probably come out of there. Are you guys in agreement with that?
Yes, I believe so.
So then in that letter, I can ask to move the $64,323 that's left in that balance to contingency. Is that where you guys want to move that?
Actually, you know what? We may not want to do that yet because the test well drilling, we may still have some items under 8 that need to, I don't know if that's all going to be admin, like the design.
Okay, so that's something that we need to discuss then, because
yeah,
we
because
might have to hold off on that then, on that part.
But what I do think we should do is move money from the contingency to the administrative portion, because we're not going to have any money left for the board meetings.
Yeah, and that Tiffany gave me the budget already. We're gonna move about 8,000.
So is that something we're going to vote on tonight, or are we going to? Don't we need to vote on it pretty soon?
Well, that's
tonight?
something. I'll have that budget letter and stuff ready for the next ad hoc meeting, or is that too late? Because basically claim 15, yeah, well, claim 15 we'll discuss it at the ad hoc meeting, and it will get approved, so it might not get approved before then. So
right, so you're saying it's okay, we have $8 left, we're covered for 14, so we
Yes.
just need to make sure that we can get an okay from Lawrence to move more money from contingency, get a letter to him, and then that would change on our it would be on claim 15.
well, it would depend too on how fast, Lawrence would approve it, because
Right.
if claim 15 goes in before it approves it, then you guys will just have to wait for the reimbursement for that. If that's the case.
I think we should just do the letter. I think we should vote on the letter now then, and then you could just run the letter by the ad hoc in between the
that's fine.
meetings.
That's fine. But then also, they're on line item number 11. We're done with that work, with that stuff there. So there's a total of $547.69. So should I move that to contingency?
Yeah, as far as I know, we don't need hydrologist and inspection anymore, correct? I mean, we're done with that completely.
Correct.
Oh, no, you're saying,
No, that's test well plans and specs.
no, the test well plans and specs, but isn't that where are we gonna put?
Well, what I'm saying is
Additional-
there's a bunch of them that we could be that we're almost done with, or that we're done with, like test well plans and specs. We're done with that.
We're done with the test well plans and specs, but we're not done with the well plans and specs because we may have to do a eight.
No, but there's $547 in that
Oh.
for test well plans and specs. And then
540.
if we're done with hydrogeologist and inspection, that's number 17. There is 17. There's a total of $3,590.58. So we just gotta, I mean, you guys gotta decide if we're done with any of these categories and you want me to include them in this letter. Or if not, then, I mean, we can move them over later. It's up to you guys.
I mean, I'm a little worried about moving, even though it's only $500, about moving any of the test well stuff because we were trying to figure out, remember at the state update meeting, we weren't absolutely positive where some of that stuff really fit in. And I don't think we fleshed all that out. I think we could definitely move well, I don't know, because we may still have questions for the hydro.
Okay, so for now, then I'll just move the 8,000 from contingency to cover your guys' time,
Yeah, that's what I would
and
do.
then we'll do the rest later, and in a different letter.
That's what I would recommend to the board. So I would move that we have Carlos write a letter to Lawrence and that we approve moving as long as Lawrence is okay with it, and he gave a verbal okay, but we didn't have the amount, but that we move 8,000 contingency to management administration to cover, that was covering a year of board meetings and a year of the ad hoc and a year of the, is that what it's covering, Tiffany? Or
Tiffany?
Carlos?
Sorry, I had to find the unmute while screen sharing. Yeah, I calculated a year's worth of board meetings, ad hocs, and staff time.
And staff time. Okay, so yeah, so that, I'm sorry, I asked that in the middle of my motion. So I'm gonna move that we,
Lisa? Yeah, before you make your motion, in staff cost recovery, we still have $4,046.21
In what? I'm sorry.
for staff cost recovery.
Oh,
that's
still-
separate.
Yeah, we still have, they're separated, they're not together, so we still have $4,046.21 in that one. The one we're short on is the management one, which is, we only have $8.94 in there. So we could do the 8,000 into that
Do
one.
we only want to do a year, or do we really, I mean, or should we do more than a year? This is definitely gonna be more than a year.
Yeah, but Lawrence has said to just do it on
Year
a
at a
year
time?
basis. Yeah, just do it a year and then we'll take it from there.
Okay,
So we could just
Okay.
put the 8,000 into the management administration.
okay, so it's not quite 8,000 because we would be taking off the, but I think 8,000's acceptable because there's gonna be more, potentially more. I don't know,
More
what,
meetings.
what's the difference in staff cost? Tiffany, do you know? Is it like a couple hundred?
I think I calculated for staff like $80 for over 12 months. So whatever that figure is, 80 times 12.
960, so 1,000, so we could do 7.
Yeah, let's do 7. So I'd like to move that we ask for 7,000 to be taken from contingency to the management administration line in the budget.
I'll second that.
Okay, let's take a vote. Director Kelling,
Aye.
Director Nyman,
Aye.
Director Schoenberg,
Aye.
Director Gibson, aye. Garcia is absent, 401. And so, can we move on to G? Discussion vote on claim 14 and other claims and payouts.
Okay,
That's you, Carlos.
yeah, let me get.
Thank you, Carlos.
Let me get to claim 14. I know I had it out. No,
Quickly, since Director Garcia is not here at the ad hoc, we did take a look at claim 14, and the ad hoc was okay with what Carlos was going to present.
Thank you, Director.
okay. Okay, so basically, for claim 14 for project management administration, we had a total invoice of $500 since both meetings happened on the same day. Sorry about the background noise, but since both meetings happened on the same day, you can only charge for one meeting. So that was a total of $500. For staff recovery costs for the month of December, it was a total of $69.88. So that totals $569.88. We had a test well engineering admin and inspection from D. Jasper and Associates for test well admin. Invoice number 21-X1215 for a total of $990. We had a letter that was written by D. We put that under test well drilling. Invoice number 21-X1214 for $297. And then we had for appraisals work done by D. Jasper and Associates, invoice number 21-X1214 for a total of $198. So that subtotal is $1,485. And add those two subtotals together, total claim comes out to $2,054.88, but the state rounds it up, so it'll be $2,055.
Okay, I'll make a motion that we approve claim 14 in the amount of $2,055.
Can he get a second on that?
I'll second it.
Okay, let's take a vote. Director Kelling,
Aye.
Director Nyman,
Aye.
Director Schoenberg,
Aye.
Director Gibson, aye. Director Garcia is absent, 401. And so, moving on to number 8, discussion vote update on the FPPUD meter replacement project and emergency well supply project. A, discussion vote update on going out to bid for well 7.
D.
That's me again.
I'm sorry?
Trying to find my unmute button.
Oh.
The on well 7, Curtis was a bit upbeat on this, and I don't know what your reaction is, Johnny, but it looks like we have 3 or 4 general contractors now interested in bidding the project work, because, you know, now we've got some piping, some other things that need to be done, a little bit more complex than it was, you know, when the well was in the initial location. But Curtis has talked to a number of general contractors, and it appears there's 3 or 4 interested in looking at it, which is really encouraging, and 2 well drillers. And so, you know, we've got our fingers crossed, but it does look like there's some interest there, and we should hopefully get some bids. And darn it, I didn't write down when the bids were due. Johnny, did you?
February 10th.
February 10th, yeah. So bids are due February 10th. And it looks like, well, at least we're as upbeat as we've been in the last several months on that. So looks like we're going to get some bids in for well 7.
And can I add something before you talk about the easements and stuff? But it was interesting because moving it to the south end of the building was a good idea. It gets us out of the way. But the guy who did the underground survey, I forget his name now, the older gentleman, he stopped by my office today. He was just curious how everything went. And when I told him we were going to move the well, he said that his take on it was he would think that we would want it to the south end of the booster house anyway, because there's a much steeper climb on the west side of the tank than there is at the south end of the tank. So I thought it was interesting that he stopped in to see me and gave that input. So you could continue with the easement thing.
Mm-hmm.
But that's the west end is, you're saying that
No,
happens.
it's the south end. He said it happens really quickly on the west side of the tank.
Right, that's
Right, we knew that. We knew
Yeah.
the west side wasn't good. We just were hoping it was more of the east side, but
Yeah, but
Yeah.
we were going to put it on the west side is all I'm saying. So since we were going to put it there and then the drillers want it moved to the south end because of the power lines, it's actually a bit more beneficial spot.
Okay. Are we done discussing A?
well,
We can move on
wanted
to-
What's the letter? I didn't get a copy of the letter.
that's not until B, but can I just say something else on A?
Oh,
Yes.
So on A, I just wanted to, oh no, I just lost it. Wow, I'm having a senior moment. Wow,
understood.
it's
You're
gone.
entitled.
Yeah, it's gone. Oh, I know what I was gonna say. Sorry. That's the actual day of the 10th when the bids are due is the actual day of our meeting. So would you be opening them on that day?
Well, they're going to be done at
Yep.
D. Jaspar's office anyway.
Okay.
And we will have the results for the board.
I could still be
Okay.
there.
Yeah, that
even
was
though
just
it's my
my.
day off.
Okay.
Third.
Anything else, Director Schoenberg?
No, that's
Or
it.
any? Okay, any of the other directors have anything else to add? Or questions? Okay. B, discussion vote on site access through SEA property and approving the attorney writing a letter. Are we there yet or no? I mean, in terms of, is that something to wait for the appraisals too?
No, D wrote a letter to the attorney. We just need to approve him doing that because he hasn't sent it to the whole board yet.
It went out to everybody.
And it's on the email. She sent it
Yeah.
to everyone on the
Oh,
email.
okay, so yeah, so I answered
Oh.
D, but I don't know if anyone else did, but I answered D because he sent it out, and the only thing that I saw that was weird on the letter was that it had said 2 years instead of 5 years on the SAYA, but I don't know if that matters or not because we need to do it sooner anyway, but that was the only error that I saw.
And I'll correct that, Lisa.
And it was a
Yeah.
good letter. It looked excellent as far as what we're asking for. If you guys look in your email, it's on let me just tell you when it came, because it might have
24th.
gone it might have gone in a weird spot, but it was sent out on January 24th. It says draft wording of the communication with Alan Dowd regarding procurement of easements on SAYA property. Please review and comment.
I don't think I got it, but I'm still having trouble with my email.
I can send it again,
Yeah.
Rebecca. I think in a nutshell, I could read through that if you guys want me to real quickly.
You just read it, D.
Yeah, why don't you do that, D?
Okay. And this is a letter that I'm suggesting that I send to Alan. And I say, Fraser Park Public Utility District needs to acquire easements for the drilling of the replacement well for well 5. This replacement well is well 7. Once well 7 is in service, well 5 will be abandoned. In order to drill well 7, the district will need to acquire a temporary construction easement of about 1/3 of an acre on SEA property. The easement is adjacent to well 5 and is only for drilling the well, or is only for the drilling operation. Additionally, the district will need to acquire a 30-foot temporary access easement on SEA property from SEA's driveway to well site 5 in order to move the drilling equipment and crew to and from the well site. Both easements are depicted on the attached drawing, and there was a drawing attached to that, a PDF. Please note that the 30-foot access easement will also serve as a permanent access and pipeline easement once well 8 is drilled. Well 8 is one of the 2 new wells the district is planning to drill as part of the regional project that connects Fraser Park and Lake of the Woods. The district has applied for early funding for well 8 in order to move that well up in time. That is because even with a replacement well for well 5, the district is still short of reserve capacity if one of the 2 active wells, well 5 or well 6, fails. Once well 7 is drilled, well, that's repetitive, I'll take that out, but once well 7 is drilled, well 5 will be abandoned. However, that still leaves the district with only 2 wells. A reserve well is needed. The schedule for drilling replacement well 7 is forecasted to be 9 months. That is, it should be completed by the end of this year. Once drilled, the well will have to be equipped, and this may take another 6 to 12 months. The district is anticipating that well 8 will be drilled beginning in 2023, depending on how negotiations go with SEA, funding availability, and well drillers' schedules. I will send you the maps that were prepared for the drilling of the test wells. These maps depict the permanent easements for well 8 and the temporary easement that will be required to drill it. You may recall that these were the maps that we used to drill the test wells and that we had to go to court to gain access for this test well. I don't think you'd forget. It is also important to know that we must notify SEA that the district desires to acquire a permanent easement for well 8. There is a 2-year and it really is 5 years. So correction, there is a 5-year time limit on the notification commencing on the results of the test well, which were positive. That's not really true. It's commencing on the date of the agreement. And
D on that letter, I might not even put the amount of time, because the reality is we need to move way sooner.
right.
So I think I would just leave off that time limit. And I mean, he knows because we sent it to him. He was part of that. But I think rather than reiterate that, I think we need to just remind him that there's a time limit.
Yes, I agree. And then the last sentence in that paragraph is, the board will need to consider this soon. Valbridge will prepare appraisals for the two well sites together with access and pipeline easements. These should be done by the end of March. Thanks for your assistance on these matters, Alan. Hopefully we'll not need to go to court again. D. So that's the letter, and it'll be corrected in accordance with your recommendations. Tom.
And we're sending that to who?
Alan Dowd, the attorney.
To Alan, okay. Okay, I make a motion that we approve the letter with the corrections mentioned by Director Schoenberg.
Is there a second on that motion?
I will second that.
Okay, I take a vote. Director Kelling,
Aye.
Director Nyman,
Aye.
Director Schoenberg,
Aye.
Director Gibson, aye. Director Garcia is absent. 4-0-1. So C, discussion vote on the plans and specifications for the meter replacement.
In my ballpark again, and talked to Curtis tonight. He is shooting for 90% by the end of next week. So once we get the 90% out, then what we'll do is send it to the board for review, and also to Jesse and to Lawrence. And so everybody can take a look at them and make sure that they all make sense. And then we'll, once the board approves it, gives us permission, we will go ahead and put them on the street.
D, could you send me a copy of that once you have the 90% plans and specs for the meter as well?
Sorry, Oscar. Yeah, they'll go to you too, and Carlos as well.
Okay. Any more discussion on C? Moving to D, discussion vote on going out to bid for meter replacement.
I think we just need to table that until we have.
Yeah,
the
that won't be done
90%.
until we get the plans and specs approved.
Do we need a motion to table it? Is that a motion?
I'm just trying to figure out if I need to, okay, yeah, so I'll move that we table D, until we have the plans and specs in hand and go over them.
I second that.
Okay, roll call of directors. Director Kelling,
Aye.
Director Nyman,
Aye.
Director Schoenberg,
Aye.
Director Gibson, aye. Director Garcia is absent. 4-0-1. Okay, moving on to E, discussion vote on a new budget adjustment. Is that Carlos?
Oh,
Yes,
it's Oscar.
It's Oscar.
So I know initially, Lisa, when we had the ad hoc in the first letter, we had the amount of increasing the plans and specifications, the planning and design, I'm sorry, by 14,000. After that, Lawrence sent out an email asking for additional details of why to justify that amount, and had a conversation with Dee. And given the fact of all the changes to the location for well 7, he gave me another estimate, roughly about of 33,000 something. So I rounded it up to 34,000 for moving that from planning and design. I mean, moving that from contingency to planning and design. And correct me if I miss anything, Dee, but this was for revised site plans that will reflect the new well location, revised piping plan, electrical and control plans. Also revising the specification, the bid packages, and CEQA compliance. Map and procedure, additional easements for drilling and the of replacement well. Did I miss anything in there, D?
No, you didn't, and I'm looking for my copy of that, but that's basically it. When I started, kind of glad Lawrence had me take a look at it in detail because there's quite a few pieces. We hope that we wouldn't be that high, but at the same time, I think we need to plan on the worst and hope for the best. There is quite a bit, to do. And I also included some attorney's time. I included some time in negotiations, anticipating that we'll probably get into some delays and some further discussions with SEI. I hope that doesn't happen, but I think we need to anticipate that happening. And if we don't need it, but so yeah, it's a bit more involved.
That was one reason why I was wondering if we shouldn't approach if we get bids in for well 7, if we shouldn't approach SEIA first and get an agreement for the temporary easement for well 7. And then once we get that locked in, then start the discussions with SEIA for the property for well 8.
I think that's a good suggestion. And, I think they need to be separated. They need to be, there's really two things here, and the most important and the one that needs to be done as soon as we can is procuring those temporary easements in order to drill well 7. And then after that, then we get into formal discussions on well 8. But the first things first, and that would be 7. I agree.
Okay,
Out of order.
We're a little out of order, but I would like to we just approved a letter to Alan Dow now he's going to write a letter. I mean, how is he going to separate 8 out of there?
We'll have a discussion. The email will alert him as to what is going on and remind him of where we've been. And then we'll have some discussions on the phone as to what we want to do first.
Okay.
And,
all right.
We'll lock that in.
Okay. Sounds good.
So back on E, we need to move money from contingency.
Yeah. So I make a motion that we move $34,000 from contingency into the planning design, and that we approve this letter to Lawrence Sanchez and send it to him.
Can I get a second on that motion?
And you meant
I will second that.
I'm sorry.
Okay, we'll take a vote. Director Telling,
Aye.
Director Nyman,
Aye.
Director Schoenberg,
Aye.
Director Gibson, aye. Director Garcia is absent, 4-0-1. Moving on to F, discussion vote on claim number 2 and other claims and payouts.
Okay, give me 1 sec while I pull up that
No problem.
claim. So for claim number 2, there is one invoice in there for meter design work in the amount of $1,944 with 0 cents. This is invoice 21-X1219. I do, and that's that's the total amount of the claim. So the total amount for claim 2 is $1,944. I do want to mention that the total amount that we had left over in planning and design was for $2,164.75. So there was some additional charges by D. Jasper, but that will not be included in claim 2 until we have the new budget approved by Lawrence. So
Okay.
for now, claim 2 will only have the one invoice for $1,944.
Okay, thank you,
And
Oscar. I'll make a motion that we approve on the claim 2 of the Fraser Park Public Utility District Meter Replacement Project and Emergency Well Supply Project Funding Agreement in the amount of $1,944 for invoice number 21-X1219.
Can someone second that motion?
I will second that motion.
Okay, let's take a vote. Director Kelly?
Aye.
Director Nyman?
Aye.
Director Schoenberg?
Aye.
Director Gibson? Aye. Director Garcia is absent. 4-0-1. Number 9, discussion vote on pipeline replacement project. A, discussion vote on the technical assistance work plan.
Once again,
Carlos?
Carlos.
Yeah, actually pleasantly surprised that the state finished their initial review of the work plan we submitted to them. They had which again, I'm pleasantly surprised that they only had two comments, and I've already answered those comments, and I submitted the work plan to management as so they can review it and then resubmit it back to the state. And hopefully that's all the comments they'll have, and it looks like this work plan will be approved by February, like they said. So hopefully earlier, but
That's great. That's great news.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yes,
so
that's good.
so the rest of them, we can't move on anything until we get this approved. So
I do want to just make a comment on E.
okay, so I move that we table B, C, and D till the next planning meeting.
Planning meeting?
Yeah, regular state planning meeting and project agenda.
I'll second that.
Great. Vote, Director Kelly?
Aye.
Director Nyman?
Aye.
Director Schoenberg?
Aye.
Director Gibson? Aye. Director Garcia is absent. 4-0-1. And so now number E, discussion vote on project application. And that's, you have a question, Lisa?
Well, I just have a comment because I'm concerned about this. I saw somewhere, and I don't remember where I saw it, looking back at our minutes and things, that the application deadline is actually like July of this year, which I don't know how we're possibly going to meet that. I just want to,
let me address that, Lisa. The deadline for the application is just for the general package, which is a real simple form to fill out. So we'll have that filled out way before then.
We don't need the budget or any numbers for that.
It's estimated stuff on the general package, and it's it's not a very difficult package to fill out.
Okay, so we wouldn't need potholing and mapping completed. We're okay.
Yeah, we're fine.
Okay, great. That was just my concern. Okay,
Yeah,
thank you.
because this, I mean, for the general package, it takes like an estimated amount and it can change later.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Okay, are we finished discussing
Yes.
things with the consolidation? Okay, so if we move on to number 10, we can come out of this at 7:40 and move on to number 10.
Yes.
And I
Discussion
think
vote.
this is for
And good
Oscar
night,
and I say good
Oscar
night.
and Carlos. Good night. Have a great night.
Thank you, Oscar and Carlos.
Okay, you're
Thank
welcome.
you. Have a good
Thank
night.
you.
you
You
very
guys have a
much.
good night.
So
Okay,
Dee, I
number
don't
10.
know-
Um,
Sorry, Becky.
Director Schoenberg, were you saying something?
No, that wasn't
Was
me.
Oh, I'm sorry. Was somebody saying something?
No, go ahead, Becky.
Okay, discussion vote update on Cal-O's community power resiliency allocation to special districts, Grant A. Discussion vote on extending the Cal-O's performance period.
Okay, sorry, Becky, that was me. Dee, I don't know if you heard or maybe not, but so the original deadline was to spend the money by March 31st, 2022. Now they're allowing us to extend that deadline until December 31st, 2022. So that's the new deadline.
Oh, that's good news.
generators, Probably because nobody can get them in. So
Right.
I went ahead, this needs to be emailed right after the meeting so I can make sure to get it to them by the deadline. So I went ahead and had Brahma sign it because he was sitting in the office on Tuesday. So as soon as you approve it, I will email it to get that extension.
Okay, I'd
I'm-
like to move
Go ahead.
that. Oh, can I? Make
No,
a
go
motion?
ahead. Yeah, go
Okay,
ahead.
I'd like to move that we submit the extension, the Cal OES performance period extension.
I'll second that.
Okay, a vote on it. Director Kelling?
Aye.
Director Nyman?
Aye.
Director Schoenberg?
Aye.
Director Gibson? Aye. Director Garcia is absent, 401. Very good. B, discussion vote update on purchasing of the generators.
That would be D.
That's D.
Did I miss one?
No, not item D, but.
Okay.
But be the engineer on this one. And Johnny, you can jump in here anytime you want, but Curtis is pulling his hair out on getting these load calcs done. He's been making a couple of calls a week to PTS rentals, and last time we talked about this a little bit, and the load calcs were done improperly. They were assuming soft starts, which brings the motor up to speed slowly, but we don't have those on our system, and so it's direct across the line. So that changes the inrush current, and so the generator sizes go up. And so having told these folks what the situation is, they revised the calcs to reflect across the line starts. And the generator sizes came in almost just a tiny percentage of what really they should be. So Curtis looked at those and said, this is crazy. They should go up, and they've gone down. It doesn't make any sense at all. And so talked with the folks that were doing the calculations, and they said, yeah, my gosh, yeah, the program isn't working right, and we're going to rerun it. And every week they tell them, yeah, we've got that, we got the information. It'll be there. We'll get it to you tomorrow. We'll get it to you tomorrow. We'll get it to you tomorrow. And we haven't received it yet. And we're putting the pressure on as much as we can.
Well, do you think I should step in and go down there and talk to Greg? Because I've been dealing with him since longer before than you guys, but that's unacceptable when we got a $400,000 project that we have to spend the money and they can't even get us the calcs, let alone order the things.
That would be welcome, Johnny.
Yeah, I'll go down there for sure. I'll go down there tomorrow or Monday.
Great, thank you.
That sounds good.
You're welcome.
Number C, discussion vote on engineering and design.
We won't do that until we get the generators,
Okay,
because that's just
So-
the concrete pads.
all right. Number 11, discussion vote on well number 5, blending station and purchasing a nitrate analyzer.
Okay, for that, let me see. Sorry about that. I was trying to send an email. For that, we finally got the quote from Hawk. I told Curtis to go ahead and order it. He placed the order with P&J, but unfortunately the supply chain right now, we have no idea what the lead time is going to be on it, but we're trying. I've been talking to Jesse Dollywall continually about this because he's been pushing it, but he understands that it's totally out of our hands right now. I think the price came in, I have to check an email, but I think it came in right around $30,000 for the nitrate analyzer. Let me see. I have it right here.
Johnny, didn't we already give you
Anyway.
approval for that?
You did, yeah. I mean, we have no choice. We have to order it. So you did give approval, and we have no choice because the state's mandating it. So it was just a matter of getting a legitimate quote because they didn't quote the one that was spec'd out by Curtis. So Curtis had to send it back, and that took several more weeks to get the accurate quote. And then we're still going to have to pay P&J to come and install it and program it into our SCADA system. So, well, them and Ness Sandley.
Is there any more
Yes, and
questions
whenever
or
we get
comments?
it.
Anything else
I
to
do
say
have a
about
cost
this?
on it though. Just so you know, the cost is $30,530 that was quoted, but then it looks like some additional cost maybe of $1,500 for some kind of warranty and startup, but we'll deal with that when it comes in.
Okay, let's move on.
Okay, we tabled number 12. Does anyone want to take a recess?
No.
Okay, then moving on. New business, discussion vote on appointing a temporary treasurer.
So, as you know, I'm going in for surgery on Monday, and so I'm going to be out of commission at least for a month, maybe 2 months, and so I will not be able to be active in dealing with the treasury. So, the question is, should we have, if she's willing, Director Schoenberg fill in temporarily since she's been doing it all along?
Yeah, I'm willing to do that.
Okay,
Do
so
we need to make a motion?
yes, so it needs to come from
And I can't second it, so this is
well, I'll
tricky.
second it, but Terry can make the
Okay.
motion.
Okay, perfect.
I'll move that we temporarily appoint Director Schoenberg as treasurer for 2 months.
I second that motion.
Okay, Director Kelling,
Aye.
Director Nyman,
Aye.
Director Schoenberg,
Abstain.
Director Gibson, aye. Director Garcia, absent. So 3, 1 abstention, and 1 absence.
I do have one question. Is there anywhere in our, I don't believe we address it, Tiffany, but do you recall anywhere in any of our resolutions or anything where it says that you cannot hold more than one position at a time?
No, I don't think it's ever addressed in any of our documents.
Okay, we might keep that in mind to address that at some point, but yeah, that's good. Okay.
Okay, number 14, discussion vote on appointing a temporary member of the accounts payable ad hoc committee.
And also, I would like to, if Director Schoenberg is willing, to work with, because presently the ad hoc committee is me and Director Kelling. And so once again, I'm not going to be available to accomplish that. So if we could temporarily, if she's willing, have Lisa be on that committee, if she's willing. Unless, yeah, okay.
I am willing. My only potential issue is depending, because of all of my health concerns right now, on the state of COVID. I may want to, and I think I had already discussed this with Deborah in terms of other stuff, but I may want to participate in that remotely. Hopefully not. Hopefully I can just wear a mask, but just depending on how things are. But I'm willing,
Okay.
as long as you
Sounds good.
folks are okay with that.
Can I get a motion?
I'll move that we temporarily appoint Director Schoenberg as part of the accounts payable ad hoc
Committee.
the ad hoc committee. Yes. Do
I
I have
second
to
it.
remove you from that ad hoc first? Because that would make it almost sound like there's going to be three of us.
So
Good question.
just add in there that while Director Nyman is
Recovering.
recovering.
Okay.
You accept that
Appoint-
friendly amendment?
I accept that friendly amendment.
Okay, I second that.
Okay, let's take a vote. Director Kelling,
Aye.
Director Nyman,
Aye.
Director Gibson is an aye. Director Schoenberg,
Abstain.
Director Garcia is absent. 3, 1 abstention, and 1 absence. So now, can we move on to thank you very much, board members. Number 15, discussion vote on modified services in response to COVID-19.
Yeah, I think we should just continue as we are right now.
I agree.
I agree.
I agree.
I will
We don't
move
need
that
a
we
motion
continue-
for that. I'm sorry, what?
Oh, okay.
I-
We don't need a motion?
Yeah, we do.
I don't know.
I'll move that we continue modified services in response to COVID-19 at the current
Level.
level.
I'll second that motion.
Very good. Great. Okay, let's take a vote. Director Kelling,
Aye.
Director Nyman,
Aye.
Director Schoenberg,
Aye.
Director Gibson is an aye. Director Garcia is absent. So 4-0-1. So number 16, discussion vote on resolution FP 20220-127-01, renewing the use of remote teleconference meetings under AB 361.
And I noticed that I'm the motion maker, original motion maker on this, I guess. So I'll go ahead and continue that so it doesn't have to be changed. It looks like I was the original and I believe Gibson was the seconder if she's willing, but I'm gonna move before the Board of Directors of the Fraser Park Public Utility District Resolution number FP 20220127-01 in the matter of a resolution of the Board of Directors of the Fraser Park Public Utility District claiming a local emergency persists, re-ratifying the proclamation of a state of emergency on March 4th, 2020, and reauthorizing remote teleconference meetings of the legislative bodies of the Fraser Park Public Utility District for the period of February 1st, 2022 through February 28th, 2022, pursuant to Brown Act provisions.
Okay. Can I
I
can't second it again.
I second it.
Oh, good. Okay. Let's take a vote. Director Kelling,
Aye.
Director Nyman,
Aye.
Director Schoenberg,
Aye.
Director Gibson, aye. Director Garcia is absent. 401. And so now number 17, review and approve meeting minutes for 12/9/21 regular meeting.
Okay, I'd like to move that, and I will say in doing this that there was one, I was errant and I did not discuss it. There's one really small typo, but I think it's covered anyway in the motion I'm going to make. So Tiffany, if you can just help me remember to address that with you. It's a really insignificant thing. It's just where an apostrophe is. So I'd like to move that we approve the regular meeting minutes for Thursday, December 9th, 2021, with any of the amendments that were sent to Tiffany previous to this meeting, as well as any additional amendments for typos or other errors that we may not have caught or that may need to be corrected.
I second that.
Okay, voting. Director Kelling,
Aye.
Director Nyman,
Aye.
Director Schoenberg,
Aye.
Director Gibson, aye. Director Garcia is absent. 401. Now, how about for the review and approve meeting minutes for 12/16/21 state update meeting?
So again, I'd like to move that we, here we go. We approve the minutes for the state update meeting Thursday, December 16th, 2021, with amendment. There's no amendments. So any amendments that were sent to Tiffany previous to this meeting, as well as any additional amendments for typos or other errors that we may not have caught or that may need to be corrected.
I'll second that, matey. I'll second that amendment. I mean,
Great. Voting. Director Kelling,
We knew what you meant.
Aye.
Director Nyman,
aye.
Director Schoenberg,
Aye.
Director Gibson, aye. Director Garcia absent. 401. Okay. Number 18, discussion vote on future agenda items. Have
Don't
we covered
still
it
have-
all?
No, we still have one
We
more.
got- Oh, I'm so sorry. I missed one. Please forgive me. Number, the,
Oh, and
we
you know
need to
what?
approve them.
I am so sorry. I messed up on that. There was a, so I need to add in that. Well, I'm not going to mention the amendment. So again, there's just an odd little thing in there that I need to bring up to Tiffany. So I think we're covered by the motion that I made, but I do need a word added in there to make it make sense.
Okay.
I-
So can we,
on that, but I will go ahead and make a motion that we approve the minutes for the regular meeting minutes for Thursday, December 16th, 2021. And any amendments that were sent to Tiffany previous to this meeting, as well as any additional amendments for typos or other errors that we may not have caught or that may need to be corrected.
I'll second that amendment.
okay, let's take a vote. Director Kelling,
Aye.
Director Nyman,
Aye.
Director Schoenberg,
Aye.
Director Gibson, aye. Director Garcia is absent, 401. Well, that's great. So now number 18, discussion vote on future agenda items.
I have a couple things. One, look for in the February regular meeting, we'll be doing 700 forms again. So I'll include the
Oh.
forms as well as last year's for reference in your packet. And then I had one question. So the regular meeting in March is due the renewal of the billboards. And I didn't know if you wanted me to put an agenda item to start discussing it in February or not, or just wait till March.
Mm,
I would say start discussing it in February.
I
Okay,
agree.
okay, so I'll have that in February.
And just quickly, I don't need the whole 700 packet because I don't qualify for any of I just need the cover letter.
Okay,
Me too.
Anything else, Tiffany?
that's all I have for February.
Okay,
Okay. I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion that we adjourn.
I'll second that.
Okay, we'll vote on it. Director Kelling,
Aye.
Director Nyman,
Aye.
Director Schoenberg,
Aye.
Director Gibson is aye. Director Garcia is absent, 401. Thank you very much, everyone.
And
I'm gonna
I'm
be
Thank
praying
you.
for you.
assuming,
Have a good
Brahma, that
night.
all the checks were signed and are okay?
Yes.
Okay.
They-
Night, everyone.
Yeah,
Good night.
Thank you.
okay,
Yeah.
good night.